live stream, if I do a live stream during the day in America, first let me explain why I no longer do live streams during the day in America. And why I've moved towards live streaming it up UK time. I don't have many UK friends, but 4 or 5 friends from the UK are better than 220 trolls in the USA. So my daytime live streams, when all the trolls, the unemployed American trolls that basically occupy the internet during the day when average people are at work. So yeah, I'm trying to avoid them. There's a few people. I had a live stream yesterday. I guess it was around 10 o'clock at night. And I ended up with, troll conversation. Joe Dirt showed up, being pretty cool. Monty showed up. Everyone showed up for a second or two, and to throw in their 2 cents. And it was kind of nice, because, it was nice. It was, at a certain point, when you're dealing with trolls, at a certain point, they start to respect you. And even if you still talk out about them, and the way that the troll mind works is that they believe they're better than everybody, and that they're smarter than people, and that usually they can just go anonymous and troll to their heart's content. So it's not it's of no use to try and fix a troll. So what I'm doing is avoiding the troll time. Game over. What's up, Rach? There we go. Now we got some good people from the UK coming on in. I won't have to worry about shadow boxing my whole friggin' night away with people that don't like me and that are trying to pretty much make me look stupid on live stream, because they usually look dumb when they do their live stream, so they figure it's a transferable looking stupid on live stream, especially if they're around. So now I'm avoiding them just like I did last week. My live stream today started at 5 a.m. Rise and shine. And I even got my my Roy Potter shirt on. And you're gonna see, kids. We're gonna move right over the trolls, man. We're gonna glide right into Roy Potter, and Roy Potter is a gentleman, and he's already slowly figuring out that Q is a LARP, and that Q is totally made up, invented, bubkiss, garbage. Invented stories by the people who are also trying to tell you that they're protecting you against Russians, Russian hackers, against Julian Assange. It's all the same people running this QAnon LARP. It's the Julian Assange loser crew. And as far as I'm concerned, Julian Assange is working directly with those clowns. Him and his fabled living in a friggin' embassy and friggin' give me a break. So, I'm not interested in any of the characters. I can talk to a regular person if I want to know the story. I don't need any of the characters from mainstream news or any of the characters that have been promoted by the system. Especially not any of the Anonymous or Occupy Wall Street or any of these people, the what was it, the Arab Springs. All that stuff was good when it was happening, kids. And now they've planned around it. Go ahead and try and do another Arab Springs. Let's see how long your cell phones last. And if that's not why they did the the soccerplex bombing in France, where there was a bombing in the stadium where the president of France was hanging out, and yeah, the bombing of France. Give me a break. Well, France is still under martial law from the Bataclan. So if you guys can't understand that, that's why they pulled that drill, that terrorist drill where they had 8 or 9 terrorists attack 8 or 9 different events in the same day. Yeah, well, it seems like those events are less and less. It was a big push before. Likely because they're not going to need to do events like that in the future, because the internet is not going to be, there's not going to be a YouTube for people to put out their info the way that they used to. There's going to be heavy competition with the news. So the news stories will fly on YouTube, and they won't have to make up YouTube news stories like they've been doing since 2014. And we might get a new... we might get a new moderator. Jib Camera, apparently, I don't know if it's true, but I've been seeing him walking around the halls of YouTube lately without any wrenches, or without his main wrench. And, you know, I gave him a little word of encouragement, because I was like, you know, it's not all bad, buddy. You can always work against the LARPs. And, you know, he's... I think I played that music there, Simple Minds, and must have struck a chord deep in his heart from when he was a teenager running around with when girls used to like him. And, you know, when you get older, it's not the same as when you're 18, 19, with the ladies anyways. Regardless if there's guys that are 65, like, there's this Dane Cook there, that he's dating a girl that's 18, the guy's 47 or something, his girlfriend's 18 or 19. Well, not if that was my daughter, it wouldn't be. And also that guy would be beat down in the street for coming to my house with a credit card in his car to pick up my 18-year-old daughter. So, America's a lost cause, friends, in the UK. I hate to tell you. It used to be a cool place, especially us Canadians. We used to look up to the American economy. And the Americans as a whole, you know, as a nation, the population had an advantage over other people, it seemed. But let me promise you, if you visited anywhere in the States in the 90s when cars on the side of the road had no tires, and cars going into New York City were stripped on the side of the road, and then you see the way that the people are now, like the grown people that are, you can even use YouTube as an example. The men and women from America that come to YouTube only for an avenue for them to grift or make money off of people that they don't like and don't care about and lie to. And that's what you got in America now, is a bunch of grifters, and everybody's grifting. I mean, they should call this grift tube. And have no fear, folks. All this stuff throughout time, it's always gone in a cyclic pattern. So with cycles, and scumbaggery near the end of an empire is mostly what you are, mostly what you receive. And anyone that thinks that America's about to take off with its new empire, and Tesla friggin' cars flying through the sky and going to Mars, and innovation so amazing that they may even get back to the moon 60 years later. Unfortunately, America's come to a crossroads in its journey. It's going to have to do brain removals on most of its population so that they can't figure out that most of the shit they've been told since 2001 is pure BS. And before that, it wasn't so bad. It was authentic. It was like Americana BS. So, you know, wasn't so bad. But now, I mean, this BS isn't even, half of it ain't even invented by Americans. So, what was in the news? I should take down some notes, and that way I'll have the news stories. This way, what I gotta do is I just gotta kind of go through my mind like it's a Rolodex and think of all the different stories that came out today in the oh yeah, we stopped following the Truth Convoy, folks. I don't dislike her as a person. She's still, in my eyes, she's still an elder grandmother. But we jumped off the Truth Convoy train on the last video that she created of me. Will be the last one that I watched, where she blames me for the things that Monograph and his friends are gaslighting me and her for. So unfortunately, she couldn't see that she can't see beyond, and she's often attacked shamelessly. So I don't blame her, but I'm not interested in standing around getting slapped. So the slapping's done, and we've moved on. Yeah, David, I tell you, man, honestly, I used to there's a big difference, and it's not necessarily by accident. And it's a sad thing. That's why when I'm on YouTube, it's very sad for me, because most of the stuff I'm talking about is verifiably, if I'm talking about something, and and they're saying that 26 kids died, and not one medical ambulance, not one medical helicopter tried to save one child. Like, the kids were all just shot dead. Not one paramedic went into the school to save one kid. The coroner just declared them all dead at the school and left them in there overnight to the next day when they snuck the bodies out. If I can tell you these things, before a shooting there was the same amount of trees were visibly, when the news reporting helicopter was looking at the school, the same amount of trees as the kids dead were visibly parked behind the fire station. I mean, if that doesn't show that possibly there's not 26 kids dead and there's only 26 trees memorial pre-ordered for after the news comes. Whether you guys want to believe that everyone that speaks out against the news is a criminal, which is what YouTubers are, and Uncle Google is pushing for. And you'll find that one day you'll tell people that you're on YouTube, like I used to do 2-3 years ago. I used to tell people, yeah, man, get a YouTube channel, man. It's amazing. It's cool, man. It's it's like a window to the world. Whatever you say, people get to see it, and then they'd be like, well, I'd be like, well, my stuff comes up before them. I'm on the Google search engine. Why wouldn't I come up in a Google search? And in 2015-16, Google fixed that, man. You could friggin' make a YouTube video about anyone you want, put their full name and all their details, and 2 people will see it. Before, if you used to put in the address of a business on Google in your title and make a complaint against that company, like when Tim Hortons has all kinds of sale prices, and it's an old scorecard from a day ago, and then they don't want to give you the sale price, and they come out and just take away the friggin' card and replace it with the one that was supposed to be there. Well, when you film that and put the address and laugh at Tim Hortons, well, don't worry, man. That shit comes down immediately now. So YouTube's not the same as it used to be. YouTube, actually, you now have politicians that look on YouTube, and there's obviously, if there's politicians on YouTube, like Trudeau made a YouTube channel in December 2016 or February 2017. I mean, the guy just came to YouTube, and other people will too, you're going to notice, because they just want access. And now that the access around trolls has almost been cleaned up by Uncle Google, by bringing the TV on YouTube and getting rid of the troll, and getting rid of the authentic YouTuber. Well, that's what you got. So, So isn't it cool, Rach? Were you here yesterday when I was doing my live stream in the daytime, and I ended up with all the American, like the hardcore American employed trolls, like, you know, people that make content that nobody watches, and even if they saw the content and it was directly about people that affect them, like my content's weird because people watch my videos and sometimes they probably like, oh, I'm not gonna watch this video, but then oftentimes the people that I talk about and the things that I talk about are real, and I talk about people that other people are afraid of, and rightfully so. Most of them are psychopaths. By the time I start talking about a person, and they know that I think that there's likely psycho, and from the way that I've acted on YouTube over the last 2 years, confronting psychos, they obviously also think that I'm psycho. And then there's this mutual troll respect that's garnered, and unfortunately, that's about the pinnacle of troll happiness that you can get to on YouTube. Is basically there's a respect between trolls. And there's so many trolls, and there's such a troll. There's like a troll code over on YouTube, and if you can effectively, if you ain't afraid of the big trolls, well, that gets you a lot of respect from the small trolls. So I just as soon avoid American population altogether for the month of August. Well, I'm trying to not relapse, but I'm trying to love USA again. Like back in the day when, remember there was a Janet Jackson concert and she ripped her friggin' shirt off and her titty fell out and everybody was screaming, USA, USA. I mean, I want those days back. I don't want what they got going here, which is basically a bunch of television broadcasting and a bunch of, half of these networks, these multi-channel networks, are not even run by American people, and you can tell, man. You can tell. Just a bunch of scammers global. And I've been watching some videos. What I do when I get sick of the TWOOF movement is I move over to the American Kajenka movement, which is basically the psyops that they run on the black community in America. And it's different than the psyops that they run on the white American population on YouTube. Basically the monographs and the Agent 19s, and those are the trolls for that. But there's, in the black community, there's a guy Gray. There's a few trolls that actually troll them, and what I do is I just go over to their community and hang out there, and all my trolls or all their trolls don't recognize me as a troll, and I don't have no problems. I don't have no static, man. It's kind of it's nice to go around YouTube, and that people know that you're not friends with these people that do these crazy things. But yeah, Jib is a Russian bot from Mars. Yeah, no, it's good with the trolls, but sometimes, when you're dealing with people that will say anything and that don't have any self-respect, because to have self-respect, you gotta respect other people. That's what respect is built around, your own personal self-respect. I know Americans are lost, man, that they haven't been taught anything in the way of getting along with other people. But that's how it goes with respect. Nobody gives respect to a person that hasn't built respect and doesn't understand what it is people are respecting him for. So in America, man, it's a lost cause, yo. I mean, that's what this whole internet game is for, is to um, even the playing field between all the poor countries' peoples and the American population that was at an advantage. And equally, uh, I mean, if not more poor mentally, they are now going to be at a disadvantage to all these other people that they were, you know, I mean, America's got 150 bases around the world, man. Look out when you guys army ain't working so good, man. There's a lot of people that ain't gonna give a shit if America gets the wrong end of the stick, and that's natural because of, you know, 60 years of world dominance. I mean, there's no Filipino armies in other countries beating people up from that country. In America, man. So there's a lot to be said about American trolls and American brainwashing and the American TV and government. And if you think China to 3 is a problem, and you see past all that stuff and look directly to me, some guy that's on YouTube, to, you know, that basically just does YouTube because it's something it's not for money. It's just something I do. And if you think I'm the biggest problem in America for speaking out against what could be trauma simulation events that other people believe are real school shootings, if you can be called, you know, a criminal for speaking out against the news, well, just look at me as an example of what your peers will eventually, within 2 years, say directly to you. Because your American friends are being trained like SEALs on social media. And soon, they're just not gonna, you're not gonna be able to get an American person who's not been affected by manipulation. Both because, why? Well, because nobody stands up in America, or Canada for that matter, against pure, like, it's like pure fantasy. Oh no, that can't be real. Oh no, in America, man, you guys have watched all your TV shows and believed them. And now you're breaking right down to believing the fake news. So it's gonna be easy for you jokers to believe the real news. All they gotta do is put the real news in front of you, and enough of your friends that your friends repeat it. And that's the American education is basically, you know, what is that called? They're, when you hear people through the grapevine. Yeah, so basically, American understanding has devolved to grapevine learning. So forget about going home and staying in and just reading your encyclopedia and learning what everything is like I used to do. Oh no. Why don't you go on YouTube and listen to people like Lift the Veil, a guy who's admitted that he's schizophrenic and that he's on medication. And he's a representative for you on YouTube. Yes, he's pulled ahead of you and he's taken the position of leadership role on YouTube. And nobody's speaking out again. Hell, they're even giving him money and playing along and bringing their LARPs in underneath them. And nobody's speaking out. What do you think's going to happen next year, kids, when all the people from the mental institutions notice that Lift the Veil made it? Well, where do you think they're going to go for a job? And what kind of stories do you think they're going to tell so that they can have some, what was it that he wanted? He just wanted, when he cut the deal with Dave Acton, he wanted access. You know, he just wanted more to be more visible on the server. He just wanted this team, the Dave Acton team, to work with him. Well, he got what he wanted. And you can tell that you can work with these trolls, man. but you gotta be just like them. And they must have noticed that he's a lot like them, and they figured they could work with him, and that he would keep on pushing no matter how much pressure I put on him, that he would keep on pushing the mainstream stories as normal, and looking over at the camera like, oh, China, I love your work. Yeah. Well, the truth is, folks, that all the scammers on YouTube love my work because I'm a real person, and they're afraid of what I do because I speak out against people like them. So they have respect for me. That's respect, because deep down they know they're doing the wrong thing, and when they see someone doing the right thing, they're like, holy smokes, man, you mean I could have done that, and I could be like him, and people would, and people would, it wouldn't be just me speaking into the wind. There's actually a whole audience on YouTube that are waiting to hear the truth about these channels and these people. And when I say truth, I mean they just don't want to hear the partnership agreement talk where they're all wonderful. I mean, these people are no better than you and me. They're all flawed. And the ones especially that came here in 2016 and that have attempted to be the leaders of the TWOF movement, well, they're hella flawed. They are an epitome of flaw. And it won't be long, man. These people cannot make it in this environment. It's an open platform. I could train kids out of grade 7 to friggin' be better YouTubers than half of these old clowns. So it's not hard. Everything that I do is not, there's science behind it. You have to think about things in a logical way. And you have to, but everything that I do on YouTube, everything that every channel does on YouTube to gain access and visibility, other than this multi-channel fumble friggin' wrap-around, reach-around tricks that they got going, well, everything else, you can make your own titles that are attractive, you can make your own thumbnails that are appealing, you can do everything that these bigger channels do. You can appeal your own strikes and stuff. You don't need a multi-channel network to take care of that for you. You just have to know the right emails to send and the right places to send them. And there's Jib Camera. God bless, man. The guy, Jib Camera, man, he's apparently, he might have been joking, but he's walking around the halls of YouTube hallways without any, wrenchless. The janitorial Jib Camera services have been terminated. I think they believe he's a mercenary over on the, I pointed him out maybe too many times, and then even the trolls noticed that the guy's so friendly with them that they even started to not trust him anymore. So that's how troll life goes. They use you as far as they can throw you, and as soon as you say something against these jokers, man, they're so nervous losing what they got, and it's all built on sandcastles, that they friggin' turn their back on you, man, all together, all at once. They all, like when I was over on Hoax Wars channel, and Donna Emerald and Winter Moon came in and started talking shit about this and crap about that, and I'm not participating with psychopaths that are abusing elders, even no matter what, no matter who the elder is. And so I started telling them, to beat it. And Hoax Wars chose them over me, man. Them over me, man. So his multi-channel network, don't worry, man. They ain't gonna go nowhere on YouTube, man. It doesn't matter how many memes he gets. That guy not showing his face. All you guys that don't show your face, it doesn't take me more than 2 weeks to make you terminal, man, in the way of friggin' non-showing face superheroes. So I ain't even worried, man. Those guys, all those meme guys, I'm nice. I actually like them. I actually like what they do. And if I didn't like what they do, they would have already known about it. Because that's not what YouTube needs, is more people working the pocket, promoting memes of the same four characters just from one side of the meme to the other. You know, they're just not memeing against the team that they're not liking. And personally, there's only so much you can accomplish clowning people, and then you gotta come in and you gotta show some sensibility, and you gotta be able to discern to other people what exactly it is you see about these people, and then you just don't listen to all their friends, man, and you just watch the internet take over, and that's it. That's the end of their BS career, man. I mean, you just have to show a few people what a scam is and what a scammer looks like, and then they can see them themselves. So, yeah, talk about Dave. Well, sure, I'll talk about Dave. Dave Acton. He's liked by a lot of people. You know, I guess his age range is about 35 to 60, probably 45 to 60. Probably doesn't get much of the 35, but it's the old guard of YouTube. You know, he's the guy that used to keep the message going in that bug out shift. You know, after this shit hits the fan. He had a whole bunch of videos like that. 2015, he was a behind the scenes dude, and but I knew, because when I started getting trolled back in the day by Pete Santilli's crew, Dave Acton made himself, presented himself to me as, you know, someone that was trying to intimidate me. And I watched him, and I knew what Dave was up to, man. And I was the one that made Dave crack, man. I was on that guy like white on rice. And Dave Acton, man, DHS Dave Acton. I had videos of this guy showing up on Mount Shasta trying to friggin' get jobs with Quinn in an old dirty Crown Vic. I mean, that guy had to strike my channels. He took down 3 or 4 of my channels. And then they brought forward the Q. And Dave Acton is a complete loser, man. He works for over there, Cosgrove Consulting. It's basically an internet consulting firm, and they run games, LARPs all over kids, American population. They are an American company running games on other Americans. In 20 years, all these companies that came to YouTube to run these LARPs, I mean, they might just be like, they might end up like Google, but in my eyes, they're just scum of the earth. Selling out your own people, man. Using a tool, internet, which was developed, you know, for whatever reason, but then turning it from something that could help people into something that you use to mislead people, in the same way that you use the TV to mislead people as a population. Well, if you guys don't see that, and you think that America go, 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 and you don't realize that other Americans are the ones that are abusing you guys as Americans. It ain't Canadians, it ain't Europeans, it ain't the Russian hackers. It's your own American people and their capitalist ideas, and the fact that they don't care about any of the people or anything that anyone's told or anything that any American believes. Nobody cares about that. They just care that that guy has money, credit, and he's going to buy some of your junk. And that's why all these stupid Lift the Veil in his t-shirts and all this stuff. You know, Lift the Veil is being featured in mainstream news as a conspiracy theorist, mental retard that sells t-shirts. This is all featured when they feature his channel name in the news. Lift the Veil is going to be promoted as a mentally deranged truther, conspiracy tard, a side thorn sidekick, a person that pushes the Pooey Louie. VOP, pay the money and get on Lift the Veil. Lift the Veil paid the money to get on Defango. And Defango is working for CICADA. And CICADA is who took the money from Kappy to get on Lift the Veil. So if you see that the Cicada, the QAnon, the Lift the Veil, the Kappy, and the Defango are all involved in the same, what I will, I explain it as it's like a game of musical chairs. And I mean, first of all, I call it musical stools, okay? So these jokers run around this damn table called YouTube, and they all try and pretend like they're not on the same damn table called YouTube. And they run around, and I turn the music off, and then they all flop into a stool, three-legged stools. And there's always one stool left, so one of those guys gets kicked in the pants, and he's got to go. He's got to go over to wherever, D-Wave or D-Life or Steam Shit. And so we kick him off of the table, and there's the 4 or 5 other guys, and they're sitting around on stools. Well, I don't even turn the music back on, man. I see the clowns sitting on the stools, and I'm like, oh, here they all are again. And I just kick out one of the legs on each of the stools. And that's what you got here, is you got a bunch of buffoons that are being kicked around the basement of YouTube. They're all working together. They're all trying to run a new scam. Dave Acton ain't even included in anybody's scams. Dave Acton burned himself out when he went full pin psycho and turned on his brother, his nephew. I mean, he ratted out his nephew, the dentist in New York. I mean, I have all of his family's. I have all his entire family tree. I mean, Dave Acton comes from a good family. And the fact that he hangs out with criminals online, and that the things that he does online used to be able to do them anonymously, but I have all kinds of, I have every video that he put out when he went terminal. I have them all. Dave Acton recused himself from YouTube. He's off. He doesn't promote himself as a hacker anymore. He came to the table and he started delegating. Monograph would be his general. Sugar Shine would be in charge of the recruiting, and he would. I mean, I got all this on video, man. I mean, even if he was LARPing, that all this is not true. I can show that these people are all working together, and I think, Cosgrove Consulting, I called Cosgrove Consulting. I spoke to the owner of Cosgrove Consulting. I explained to him what was going on YouTube and how I was being harassed. And he told me that Dave Acton only has his photo on their website because he's friends with their daughter. And I don't believe that, not for a second, man. That old man, a big liar. And that's what you have on YouTube. You have all kinds of internet consulting groups with old people that I run through like butter in a friggin' blender. I'm telling you, kids, you want to bake cookies, man? Just friggin' follow me, man, through the internet. You're going to have butter cookies, man. You're going to have sugar butter cookies, man, all day long, man. You don't even need to go to the store. So, yeah, you got all kinds of people. Scott Bibler is another Dave Acton. As far as I'm concerned, anybody with a fucking 80-year-old beard on YouTube, running around doing videos that nobody watches, pretty much high on his own friggin' supremacy. That's what these guys are. They're high on their own position in the hierarchy. But a bunch of baboons, man. And it's garbage, okay? And their hierarchy is a bunch of jokers. And they ain't got shit. Because all it is a bunch of old dudes paying money for presence on YouTube. I mean, these are the jokers that buy dislikes. I mean, who was it? Thomas, the guy from CICADA, bought 500 dislikes on Defango. You know how much it costs for 500 dislikes, man? You know what type of a person you gotta be to spend $250 on disliking one of a guy's videos? And then, for 2 or 3 weeks, I hung out talking to that guy, and he was proposing to me that he's some lowly, poor-ass musician with no money. And friggin', Cicada, meanwhile, is getting 800 million views globally. And you clowns think that this guy is just some lowly musician in Texas dude. And so, I don't care. Oh, Santilli Well, Santilli is just like Dave Acton, except he had he had a show, and he. The sad thing is the further these guys go along in their story, after I start busting them, like Dave Acton came clean, man, and he's basically recused himself off of YouTube. He basically does shit that I don't notice, so it doesn't bother me, and he's not running around trying to friggin' tell me he's gonna take my channel away, and making threats and trying to strike my channel, sending me legal documents. He's a complete fraud, and everybody knows Dave Acton is a fraud, because of how much fraud he tried to push over as real in 2016. So, you know, Dave Acton, friggin' Pete Santilli. I mean, Pete Santilli and Dave Acton were like, they were friggin' idolized each other's. That's why all these people are going belly up, eh? You'll notice that one guy idolizes the next guy, and then I look to see who that guy likes, and I find another guy. And they all go belly up one at a time, all by... When they're all in a big group of 5-10 guys, I mean, these guys are machismo. But let me tell you, man, even if I went to DEF CON, let me tell you, man, I don't care what one of these groups these people are in, man. I can infiltrate in real life all of their groups, and people will like me and talk to me, and I could get through and get by and get over on all of those people. Man, I don't do that in life, man. I don't go around and friggin' try and friggin' get over on people. But if I wanted to, I could always get over on the LARP squad over at DEF CON. I friggin' identify half of the people that are on YouTube as shills. You know, people like... Anyways, I won't mention any names, because then they get nervous, and then the next day they stay up all night. Like now that Grandpa Duck Feathers, now that he knows I'm doing my live streams at 5 a.m. to avoid his old ass that's asleep at like 9:30. But you know, if I do a live stream at 1 a.m., it's only 11 over there in Colorado. So DuckTales gets up and he comes over and he starts squirting his friggin' semi-transgender malarkey, you know, like there's some kind of love affair, mental problem going on. I guess it's a communicable problem in America, this whole debauchery and sexual deviation and deviance. And hey, man, I had a good life, man. I don't... When I was 18, I had a great time, man. I had my life. I lived it according to the timeline that a normal person lives. You know, when you're 16, when you're 17, when you're 18, you do what you're supposed to, and then when you're 26, 27, 28, well, you do what you're supposed to, and then you don't go back when you're 40 and try and relive your life as an 18-year-old. Yeah. You don't do that just because you got a job and some money. You don't go try and pick up 18-year-old chicks because you couldn't do it when you're 18. Yeah, well, I got a good life, so I don't worry about these jokers that go to Las Vegas to get their thrills, and like Pete Santilli and Deb Jordan that were over at the Bunny Ranch, you know, back in 2016. You know, they spent 6 months at the Bunny Ranch with Congressman or Fiore there, and Deb Jordan and her were sharing Odom's friggin' chalet in the back forest, and she burnt the whole thing down, the whole friggin' forest friggin' escape. There was like a bunch of little condos out in the back where you could rent a condo, and off on the Bunny Ranch property. And these two jokers, man, they're in the forest there with the place catches fire, and everyone finds out that they're friggin' Fiore and Deb Jordan were renting the same room. So if you think that America's so big, I mean, YouTube is a joke, man. They actually bring people to... That Fiore girl was an internet singer, and then she became... What is it? She's not a congresswoman. She's not a lobbyist. She's a... legislator. Okay, so just think, and who's that other guy that YouTube tried to promote to get to be another legislator? That other freak with the shark teeth there that fucking runs around, and then that other guy, The guy that was from the WBJD shooting where his girlfriend was shot live on camera with a Glock, shot like 9 times. And she ran down the freaking boardwalk with 9 bullets in her back with no blood holes. And people are going to tell me that that's a real news shooting. And then 2 weeks later, the first Facebook live shooting, the old man grandpa with his bag gets lit up on the side of the corner, and he has a bag on his face for the photo of him dead. He ain't dead, man. They ain't shooting nobody on Facebook live, man, getting live streamed. That all made for TV bullshit. And Americans just got to think to themselves, why wouldn't these people lie to you now? Why wouldn't they fake these things? Why wouldn't they? What do they have to gain to be truthful to American population? Like pretty soon Americans are going to learn to give people bad information, because you know, the more and more people that have bad information, well, the more you don't want them around. So when the shit hits the fan and there's, you know, you're going that way and the shit's hitting the fan and you see all kinds of Americans are chasing you, well, you tell them, well, no, don't go this way, man. I'm running into the fight. Go that way. Because you don't want these guys with you, man, because they're going to turn on you. They're all... It's not a free-thinking society anymore. America is not what the world thinks any longer. It's basically been devolved into a society of people taking advantage of other people in desperate mental condition. So they're already, you know, rednecks. They're already high school dropouts. They're already living with their parents. And then they come on YouTube and these 60-year-old trolls like Dave Acton manipulate them, abuse them, get them, you know, like little puppets to do things and say things that they know are certifiably crazy and stupid, but these other manipulators above them believe, you know, because they believe in each other and they all promote each other as winning. Like you see Scott Bibler goes around and tells Thomas what a great job they're doing, how they're both doing wonderful work. And then, you know, they run around and Scott Anthony tells them all how great they're doing. And all these people, and Pete Santilli jump in, say how great it is. And Roy Potter will say how great they all are. Well, I got a video last night of Roy Potter basically came clean. He's realizing last night that he realized yesterday at his public golf course, okay, that Q is a LARP and that the people pushing Q did a disservice to Americans. I was saying that since 2000 when it started. Okay, I was saying that YouTube is doing a disservice to all Americans, Mr. Potter, because of people like you and the people you hang out with, and the fact that this is you're trying to push political agenda on YouTube. And it don't matter what side of the political agenda. Just the fact that YouTube is becoming is being overtaken by these clown jokers, all of them pushing fiction and fairy tale until they get busted, and then they all turn on each other and say that they knew that it wasn't going to be good for MAGA. Because well, MAGA is bullshit too, Mr. Potter, okay? And MAGA people sold bricks to Americans in the mail for freaking $20 each, okay, plus shipping and handling, freaking buying bricks in the mail, you bunch of idiots. MAGA, another friggin', MAGA's just another friggin' hashtag, mother. That's all it is, man. Just another hashtag, and any hashtag that's made now into the future, as soon as it comes out on YouTube, people like Dave Acton are there seeing it, they know what it is, and they get in on it, and they make their own MAGA bullshit in the back. It's just like the VOP, you know. Jib Cameron, man, you're in the chat, buddy, so tell me, Jib Cameron, I answered a few questions about Bibler, Tomless. Yeah, Bibler and Tomless, new subscribers, go for it, man. I mean, if you want to surround yourself with people that are pertaining to go places in YouTube behind the scenes and have a whole bunch of people working with them undercover. I mean, it's not a good time to join now that I'm speaking of them openly. They're no longer undercover. All their shit is gonna fall apart in 2019. You know, if I don't get some kind of if I don't find some kind of a resolution for the monograph problem that I'm having, well, I'm gonna move up. I'm not moving down, man. I'm not moving across. I'm moving across or up the chessboard. I'm not moving back down. I'm not going backwards. So I have numbers of people. I have contacts at Vice, Aisha Koto at Vice. You know, I have people that I can contact at Sony Entertainment. Those are the people that I'm gonna bring to YouTube in 2019. It ain't gonna be I ain't gonna rehash jokers and people that I already turned to burnt toast. I mean, I'm gonna bring new content to. I'm gonna bring you. You see the LARPs. I'm gonna bring. You see, I'm pointing out who's actually pushing the LARPs, who's actually working to sell the LARPs, who on this website can you go to with a LARP to make it go viral and give them some money? You want to do some, yeah, well, CICADA or Bibbler, yeah, and they will get a whole bunch of channels on board to push your LARP. So so what I'm gonna do to make everything exciting and keep the ball rolling in the right direction, well, since Monograph doesn't seem to be wanting to let up and has been talking about how my father molested me and he's been reading it online, well, he can keep writing stories like that. And I'm going to talk to the owner of Cosgrove Consulting and that girl Aisha Koto at Vice. Yeah, I'm gonna get in touch with them. I'm going to find someone at Sony Entertainment and I'm going to talk to them about CICADA. And I'm going to try and be ahead of the money. So as these things try and, you know, pivot away from YouTube and bring themselves to mainstream, like how Flat Earth and Other Hot Potatoes was able to come on YouTube. And, you know, obviously I was under a lot of pressure from a lot of people, so I had to let them kind of pivot away from me. And she pivoted here and pivoted there. Got a whole bunch of people on YouTube to go on her shows, and then she made a friggin' movie about what a bunch of jokers on YouTube are covering Flat Earth. And that's what all these guys are going to do to you. All these old dudes that are hiding behind the scenes, man, when they can, they're going to sell their story of how they duped the internet with QAnon and how they duped the internet with the Malheur Animal Reserve LARP and how they duped the internet with Lavoy Filicum being shot on the side of the road with firecrackers and all kinds of beanbags going off, and you know, drone footage where the camera cuts away and then you'd go back and the van is upside down and there's a guy jumping out in less than 1.2 seconds, faster than Flash Gordon. And when you point all these things out and you put all the 5 or 6 different things together, you recognize that the FBI was involved in that LARP. The Lavoy Filicum LARP? Yeah. So if the FBI is involved, because it was the FBI's drone tapes that were released onto YouTube within 25 minutes of the YouTube crew getting released, you know, from their terrorist van being shot up to released to go make videos on YouTube in under 4 hours. That's not how the FBI works, kids. So if the FBI is involved in releasing the drone tapes, well, aren't you all fucked? If I'm some dude from Canada telling you that the FBI is not going to help you, they are pushing these LARPs. They're not going to. That's why you know. Because if the FBI was any good, they would have at least found one of the things that I've pointed out in the 20 or so different fraud fucking news represented LARPs that you guys have been fed. I mean, I'm not going to be able to save the American YouTube population. I've already developed that understanding all on my own. So I want resolution with the slander about my family online. And at a certain point, I'm gonna, you know, what I can do measurably as a human male, taking slander down. Oh, so Vice is Soros funded. Yeah, whatever, man. Vice. I'll just harass them because they're losers. Because I can make Vice, I can make videos about all the Vice shows, man. You know when they're saying Vice and they're saying they're drug dealers and they're undercover with a drug. Yeah, all those shows are fake, man. Those ain't real drug dealers, you fucking losers. Drug dealers don't do Vice TV shows with a bandana on their face in their home city. You think the police, when you're in fucking Miami driving around in a taxi doing a Vice video that you're a coke dealer, you think the police can't watch that video and figure out what coke dealer that really is? And the coke dealers are known to the police, that they're not just some, you're not just, if you're selling, if you're moving weight and powder, the police know who you are, man. And you think you're going to go on a Vice, even if they just know a little bit about you, you think you're going to do a Vice show and get away with it. That's because them guys are actors, man. Just like Cy Thorne working with Vice, that he an actor. He put there to look like a crazy YouTube conspiracy theorist. And that's what his act is that he goes around, he's older than the people on YouTube, so nobody wants to speak out against him, because he should be an elder, he should be doing the right thing, but he's not. He's using that position, and then he's friggin' wolf friggin' fearing you into, yeah, it's real. And he's coming at you, man, and if you say anything against him, his granny's gonna attack you in the chat, man. Yeah, fucking this, you're that. She going psycho on you, and he going psycho. People are afraid of that, man. They probably, man, they have training in what they're doing, man. These are evil people, okay? Because what they do is they persuade people. I call it gaslighting, but they persuade people into believing the opposite of what they're doing is true. Yeah, you know, game over. That's good, man. If you believe in the Lavoy Fullicum's fable, I'm not arguing that, man. That's old. All the stories that the news has put over on the American population, I am not going to solve your dilemma with those stories anymore. And if you believe Lavoy Finicum was shot, then you believe that you should believe that Kappy is real. You should believe 100% in all the Pizzagate VIPs and All-Stars, that they're all naturally here to help children. And, you know, you should also believe in the Malheur, you know, those guys, John Ritzheimer and Blaine Cooper, and that fat dude that had the rifle and was saying, bring your arms. If the police stop you, shoot them. That guy. Yeah, he didn't go to jail either. Nobody went to jail. All those videos from inside the bunker with Mr. Sex Robot, whatever his name was there, the little Chinese, Japanese American dude. And if you believe that Lavoy, through all that, if you believe Lavoy is dead, game over, man, you should unsubscribe from me, man, because I'm gonna just clown you from here on out, brother. You a idiot, boy, because that don't make no sense. Why would the FBI release Mark McConnell, the driver of the truck? Why would they release Mark McConnell and their drone tapes 1 hour after Lavoy was killed live on YouTube? For YouTube. Why would you believe that? Game over. You know, why don't you, and anybody that wants to discuss these things with me, man, eventually you're going to have to show your face and your eyes, man, so that people can see that there ain't no comparison between me telling the truth and you pushing fables. And if you think, I don't care if Vice is CIA, and it's all bullshit, man. If you believe that Lavoy Fullicum was shot and that the police shot him, the FBI shot him in a roadblock, and everybody on YouTube was up in arms over this whole Malheur and everything, they're trying to make a revolution, and you believe that they released their own drone tapes an hour after shooting him, And they wanted the public to see the shootout. Because there are their drone tapes, man. The drone tapes are on the FBI drone. So why would the FBI drone release the tapes to YouTube an hour after the shooting? And if game over, if I can't show you that, man, if I can't show you a video and show you 28 Christmas trees behind the fire department in Sandy Hook, as the choppers were flying around the fire department, you saw the memorial Christmas trees behind the fire department, and no children were evacuated from the school. No kids were evacuated from school. If you could believe that that's an actual crime scene, and that you don't think that this is, then I can't help you, brother. And I'm not trying to, man. That's why this is a UK stream, man. This is for UK people, man. I'm going to unrig UK people from the American drip. I mean, you guys should be ashamed of yourselves as humans. Like, I would never participate with what's going on YouTube with the disinformation. I have self-respect, man. And I have respect for other people and their families and the people they protect. And there's no way I'd be giving bad information to thousands of my countrymen, to my brothers and sisters, for whatever reason, especially not for money like these sellouts are doing on YouTube. And if they think that what they're doing is not harmful, well, have a look at what Q and all these people pushing. Look at what YouTube has become in the last 2 years. I mean, game over, man. Just go away, man, and go watch some other content, man. You ain't gonna like my content if you believe the FBI it would release drone tapes, man. You're gonna believe that you're gonna believe like what these trolls say, that I'm this, I'm that, I'm this, because you don't want to believe what I say. So then you'll end up just hating me based on the ideas that I put over, because they hurt liars. They hurt people that are believing in American supremacy. You know, it would hurt your feelings, game over, to find out that the people you believe in are the ones lying to you. And this little dude in Canada, he's the one saving you. It's not America saving you, man. It's not your Americans on the internet saving you. They're trying to hurt you, man. They're trying to hurt you, man. They're trying to make you, they're trying to just gain up on you. They don't even care about you, really. You're just a number, man, like 300 million suckers, and they don't care, man. And that's different between me and you, and me and them. And I got patience for you, but don't sit in my chat, brother, and say that, you know, you can say what you believe, okay? But you really gotta just take a grain of salt and think about what I say before you automatically spurt out the mainstream friggin' response, which is, no, that's real. No, kids did die. Oh, you're sick. You're making fun of the parents. I'm not making fun of nobody's parents, okay? I'm not, what's his name there, How I See the World, calling people. But How I See the World calling a guy in the hospital, calling a hospital, it's not calling people's parents, man. I don't want to even know about anyone that calls, even if it's a LARP, and there's a LARP, if there's anybody dead, and there's any story around dead people, don't contact any families of any deceased, even if it's make-believe deceased, and you know it's make-believe. Don't contact them, because you're going to make everyone look stupid on YouTube. That's what they want you to do. They want you to go be a YouTube investigator with their actors that are acting like they lost family members, and when you do call them, they're gonna open police reports against you. They're gonna go all over the news that a guy from YouTube is actively harassing them, and they're gonna win. They're going to win. Just like that woman that went down to Connecticut and got arrested. Just like that other guy that went over to Connecticut and got arrested for investigating being a YouTube journalist. Maybe that's LARPs. Maybe they just want to scare people into not coming over there and looking into their crap, because they do that too. Getting arrested sometimes is part of the LARP. Like the Pete Santilli LARP, getting taken down was to just give him credibility, like as if the police are going to take down Pete Santilli, and he wasn't there working with them. You know, Pete Santilli. I mean, Roy Potter just did a video 2 days ago where he said that Pete Santilli was heavily vested in the launch of Q. I mean, Pete Santilli has downgraded himself to Dave Acton levels on YouTube. He's basically a behind-the-scenes ferret. He's like a little badger behind the scenes. He's trying to get his show to get visibility again. He can't get no traction. He gets under 200 views on a video, you know, like you're talking 2,000 views after 2 weeks with 80,000 subs or 120,000 subs or whatever he has. It's pathetic. His numbers are burnt toast. That's what you're looking at right there. And you know how he burnt toast? By pushing Malheur as real. He completely collapsed his ability to promote himself as a credible person on YouTube. But guess what? In YouTube, oh yeah, after 2 years, well, you can come back, man. You just get some videos erased and you come back and you tell people you're a good person. What do I think of Jason Goodman? Well, Jason Goodman is a cool dude, man. He's just a little bit short to be standing next to George Webb. But other than that, he's a lot better than Pete Santilli. He looks a lot better than friggin' Next News Network and all those clowns, all those jokers. So, yeah, you know, game over is... You just gotta get over yourself, man, and get over the information that you have in your head that you believe is true because people from America have told you it's true. And think for yourself, man. You do better. And as for Jason Goodman, man, I'm liking his new show. I think he's basically pumping MSN News. He's basically a news show, independent, a YouTube version of what the TV is going to produce here as a TV version. So he's going to be somewhere between authentic YouTuber and television content. And he's going to cover the content that has like that's a little bit more leveled towards YouTubers. So he's going to cover Facebook and YouTube style journalism, whereas the mainstream is going to cover USA, EU journalism. You know, like a more of a expanded amount of. They're going to talk about all the same things, but they're going to talk about them on the news, how they relate internationally and with other and between states and stuff like that. Whereas you're going to see the other people, well, they're going to be, you know, someone like Jason Goodman is going to be directly relating those stories to the fiber of YouTube, to the fiber of the internet. And I don't think he's that heavily looking over YouTube anymore. He must be on another website, like he must be over on Facebook or something, where he's getting more support. And he looks a lot better as a YouTube creator because, you know, you can tell when someone's being heavily harassed and trolled and criminally, you know, under an attack that's pretty much criminal and bothering a person. And he looks like a lot more down to earth and less frazzled. And he must be spending time off YouTube because it seems like the YouTube trolls aren't affecting Jason Goodman anymore. And when I say YouTube trolls and Jason Goodman, I mean I'm talking about friggin' Thomas at CICADA. I'm talking about Defango. I'm talking about people that are working with this other group, actively working against Jason Goodman. It's not just one person, man. Jason Goodman Whether he's one person or not, I don't know. But Defango is not one person. And anything Defango does on YouTube, I'm interested in, because Defango was involved with Shadowbox. Defango was involved with Dave Acton in 2016. Defango has been involved in CICADA the whole time. I'm been involved with Defango because he took down some of my channels with Dave. And if Defango did that, well, Thomas was involved. Okay, so that's what I think of all those people. I think that they are no good for YouTube, and that being behind the scenes and keep coming back as reinventing themselves as good people, and that, you know, now Defango's a good guy again. He's a hero, and he's the one that outed QAnon. That's not how heroes work, man. You don't work for the scum and then, you know, come clean and say you're friggin' undercover, but nobody knew it except you. That's you with them, man. And you a rat. You ratted your own friends out, man. That don't make me a hero in my book. That don't make you a hero in my book. Even if your friends are all criminals and you are a criminal, well, there's a code of conduct for criminals. And if you can't follow that code, if you can't not be a rat, well, you ain't even a good criminal. And that criminal is not the low of the food chain. I would say sex offenders the low of the food chain. But criminals pretty damn close to being the bottom of the barrel in society. And you can't even be a criminal good. Well, what does that tell me about Defango? Well, he ain't going to be a good leader either if he can't be a good criminal. And is there any such thing as a good criminal? Not in real life in church, but on YouTube, yes. On YouTube, crime is an asset. The fact that you're a criminal on YouTube, that you can grift people, that you can lie with a straight face, those are all assets on YouTube. And all the people that work behind the scenes are looking for an advantage. And they don't care if he's an honest guy, if he can do the job, or if he's a criminal and lying. And that's how come for me, it's easy to kind of like, I mean, I see these guys, I know what one or two of them are about, and I see them hanging out, man. I know I wouldn't like those people, and I wouldn't hang with them, I wouldn't be making jokes with them, because they criminals. And eventually the criminal, you have your criminal friends over, and criminal friends, they the ones that gonna rob you. It ain't gonna be some friggin' anonymous person coming in off the street doing a home invasion. It's your friends that are setting you up because you hanging with criminals. So, I applaud criminals that hang out with other criminals because they're all going to rat each other out eventually. That's the difference between good criminals and bad criminals. There's not that many good criminals because it's not a good position. You don't have criminal honor in the same way as you have, you know, someone who shows his face and everything he does, people see what he does in public and in full face of everyone. Those are the people that become leaders. Not some guy that's hiding behind the scenes and killing people and doing things, getting an advantage any way that he can. Those people they just scare people. And if you look up to criminals, you just a scared person. You know? And grow some cojones, man. This is just YouTube. Put your friggin' granny panties on, man. Take those G-strings off. And friggin' stand up for yourself, man. And if you see someone acting criminal on YouTube and you're afraid of them, game over. If you're afraid of speaking out against these or asking questions that would help your brothers and sisters in America or in the UK, if you're afraid and you just want to believe, you know, that the criminals aren't criminals, well, believe what you want, man. You're part of the problem. You're the reason why they're able to get over on so many other people, because you don't take a moment to look, to say, oh yeah, well, if this guy's involved with Dave Acton, and Dave Acton likes Monograph, and Monograph likes Pete Santilli, and Pete Santilli likes, you know, Professor Doom, and then you do this friggin' line of all these jokers that are on YouTube. And if you can't notice that they're jokers, well, then you should get off YouTube. You don't have discernment enough for YouTube. You're part of the problem that you're so heavily believing in these stories. Like, I don't believe in none of them. And I mean, unless I can prove any of these stories myself, like from what I see with my own eyes, my own discernment, well, I'm not gonna take your word for it, man. I'm not gonna take your word for anything anymore. Game over, because you can't even think for yourself any longer, man. Regardless of what you think of me, man, the fact that you believe that the FBI would release the drone tapes 1 hour after they flipped the van and shot a guy up full of bullets illegally on the side of the road, you know, a patriot to boot, with 100 patriot chicks standing in the background saying, "Don't touch my Lavoy, he's a hero." If you think the FBI released that tape to YouTube, well, I don't care, Game Over. You are Game Over, man. You got the best name, man. And as soon as I get to my other channel, I'm a friggin' block your ass from the chat because you're so damn retarded. I'm not here to friggin' fix Americans, brother. I'm not here to help people that are lost, that don't want to help themselves. So, you know, if you don't agree with some of my ideas, man, make a video. Make your own channel. Promote your own ideas. Don't come over here and start pretending like you got some kind of influence and you at the end of the rope with the sheriff, man. The sheriff don't want you, man. The sheriff sees game over gonna be game over behind him, man. So just don't even bother with me anymore, man. This ain't no safe space, and if you came to my channel to promote any of the LARPs as real, well, you gonna have to go somewhere else, man, and go fiddle your D over on someone else's channel, man, and go help your friends over there. And take a minute to see how steadfast I am that I know 100% that the FBI does not release drone tapes when they shoot a guy. And you make up any case where they do, and come show it to me, man, and I will respect you. But you ain't gonna do shit other than say that I this, I that, I this, and you gonna believe. Believe in Pete Santilli, man, all you want, Game Over. But when I see Pete Santilli's involved with any LARP, with anything that I see Pete Santilli covering, that's why Pete Santilli ain't covering no more shit on YouTube. Because I've been telling whoever Pete Santilli works for, I've been screaming it loud from the mountaintops that when Pete Santilli comes back, my job gonna get even easier than what it is now with Defango. Because all I gotta do is watch Pete Santilli's shows. And I mean, it pretty much, it put me ahead of the game in 2016. I watched Pete Santilli's shows for a year, and I knew everything that all of those people were thinking. And when they came out with the Malheur, it wasn't more than 10 minutes out, and that thing was already debunked. So, well, I'm glad you say I'm partially right. It's an improvement over your steadfast belief. I have a little bit more, I have a bit more faith that you might come through this Game Over. You might change your name to I'm Winning Again and not Born Game Over. But it's good enough, man. If you say that I'm partially right, well, I'll take partially right, and somewhere down the middle, no problem. I know it's hard to admit that a guy from Quebec, some little French dude, 145 pounds, maybe 147, that he's outsmarting the entire YouTube, the YouTube Saving America system, where YouTube is actually giving you good information, and they're saving you, and they're helping you guys get together to overtake the government and get your constitution back. So I'm glad that you've taken me into consideration alongside those other 6 or 7 squad fraud groups, which are running on YouTube like as if there's nobody on YouTube that has a brain that will stand up and say, listen, first of all, your stories are bullshit. Second of all, I've been on YouTube so long, I know what YouTube is, man. It ain't a TV station. And I can put my words and my thoughts out on YouTube, and they will compete directly with yours until they overtake them. Because my thoughts are not just thoughts. I develop impressions of what I see with my own eyes, and then I explain what my eyes are seeing to other people, and then I explain all the parts of the fantasy that are missing from what my eyes saw, and that's how I developed that the story's a LARP. And if my eyes are seeing one thing, helicopters flying around and you know, and news helicopters and no emergency air helicopters, no evacuation, no ambulances going to the school, no paramedics going in the school. Well, if I see that with my own eyes, well, I don't care what everyone on YouTube says. Actually, the things that people say on YouTube is what makes me look over to find out what the next LARP is, because they all start LARPing it together. Like, there's something real about Kappy. I was like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? Give me a break, man. And sure enough, I mean, Kappy's claim to fame now is Voodoo Donuts. He's gonna be, you know, the Pizza Gates. Well, Kappy's Voodoo Donuts. He's another hashtag altogether. And the Kappy hashtag, well, you know those shirts where you see a face on a shirt and the guy's, you know, he's like retarded on the internet? Well, that's what Kappy's face is going to be in the future. He's going to be the face of retardation on the internet. And I mean, mark my words and just wait around. But that is the face for mental retardation on YouTube. With that big afro hair and the Jewish look with the big nose and the big lips and the nice smile, like the kid's not poor, he's got money, he's living in Hollywood, his parents are rich, he dropped out of school and went to friggin' college as an artist of some kind. And that's what he's doing, man. He's giving hugs to people on Periscope, he's hugging, he's kissing his phone, he's having an intimate relationship with Periscope is nothing but Twitter. I mean, it's just a bunch of anonymous people with accounts that tweet away. I mean, you're not even dealing with real people on Twitter. It's not like Facebook where people use their real names. It's not like YouTube where you have a combination of one and the other. So, listen, Jib, God bless you, Jib Camera. I'm gonna make you. I'm gonna have to give you a wrench, man. I feel so bad for you. It probably has something to do with me. Why you were friggin' called out as being a mercenary? Because I did point you out for a couple weeks there, and they probably started to notice, like, yeah, this guy Jib Camera, man, he's all over us, man. This guy could take us down with one friggin' in one evening with all his wrenches. And because they're all working together and there's think tanks, man, they don't trust anyone. They just they only trust each other. And slowly but surely, they get rid of anyone that questions their scenario. So if for whatever reason you question anything about Lift the Veil or anything about Defango, man, your job as a chat moderator will be relieved. Santilli and Goodman doing shows together. I saw that. And you see, I covered a few of them, and then Goodman left Santilli alone. Goodman's not that stupid, you know, but Santilli's got a big, he's got the E-militia behind him. Santilli's with Freedom Network. So he's got all these trolls like K Smalls that'll come around and protect him, and that'll pretend like he's a real channel. Because they're all in the same Freedom Network. Enter the Stars is also in Freedom Network. I asked Freedom Network directly if Monograph was in Freedom Network, and they said no. Right away they said no. And then I mentioned to Freedom Network that Pete Santilli had an E-militia, and that I have videos of him threatening that he's going to do this and that, and that it's, you know, it doesn't seem like that's the kind of partnership profile that Freedom Network would want, because it is a liability, you know. Like, now that I know that Pete Santilli works for Freedom Network, I mean, anything Pete Santilli does, I can sue Freedom Network. And that's how that goes, kids. And that's how it goes with the legal system and criminal and the civil cases is not criminal. Civil courts. I mean, people settle out of civil court. They don't go. They don't try and go before a judge and see what the penalty is going to be. You just have to prove a little bit of your case, and people settle in civil court. And of course, you know, you ask for less money than it would cost them to defend the case with the legal team, and that's how that's gonna work out. So I don't know if Goodman, I don't know if Goodman wants Santilli, man. Santilli is toxic, man. He's a toxic dude. He's from the Alex Jones era of where, you know, Alex Jones would say one thing and then Pete Santilli would come out and say that what Alex Jones said was this and that wasn't good, and then he was trying to get into a tit for tat with Alex Jones and get some of Alex Jones's subscribers. And I mean, Alex Jones, what is Alex Jones in the network? Probably not. But the fact that Pete Santilli's in Freedom Network, and I know that, well, he's not that smart of a guy, man. And his days on YouTube are over, man. And Pete Santilli harassed me in 2016. And in 2020, Monty's going to be just like Pete Santilli. And I can guarantee you, if he's still on the internet, I'm still going to be clowning him, okay? But I don't think that he's going to make it past the winter. That's how summers and winters go in North America, kids. When you're not taking good care of yourself over the summer and you drop down to a weight, you know, below nature's health, and then winter comes back, well, you start, the winter takes you out, man. That's why Americans were nice to the Indians when they first came here, because the winters were killing the Europeans that came over. And so they got with the Indians, and the Indians showed them how to survive the winter. Basically staying inside and storing food and sharing their food with the people that came over on the boats. And then the Americans, once they had a footing in America, slaughtered all the Indians. And it's not all the Americans. It only takes a handful. Once you open the door to this capitalist, to this America, a lot of good people are in America, and they don't have anything to do with it, but they're staying home in their small towns, and they're not on YouTube and not speaking out. And what you have in America controlling it, the people speaking out, and the people in control of YouTube, they ain't the good people of America. And so, coming on YouTube to effectively change or fix anything, the fact that you got so many people working for profit now and not for the greater good is never gonna, you're not gonna overcome all these people. The best you can hope to do is something like what I do. And basically you let them collapse in on themselves, and you just roam around, you know, and they all know you're there, and they're all nervous as hell. And then they say things that screw themselves, and then when one guy starts screwing up or one guy starts fighting with another guy, well, I move in, man. I move in. And that's what encouraged me to move in on Monty, is when I saw his body, man. I saw what he looked like in the videos, man. I ain't stupid, man. This is real life, man. You look over, you see what your competition looks like, man. If your competition looks like they're not going to make it, man, there ain't much competition for me. So, if Monty wants to compete against China the 3, he's going to have to put on some makeup before he does a live stream, man. He's going to have to drink some Boost. You know what I'm saying? I ain't afraid of frail old men that run around saying they Illuminati in real life. In real life, anyone that abuses people around me is very nervous, man. And they're rightfully so to be nervous. If I see them abusing anyone, there's a good chance, just like I don't want anything from YouTube, that I'll take a charge to fix that person in front of me if I see him abusing a kid or a woman. So don't worry about what other people on YouTube, the sellouts on YouTube, would do. Who would stand up for what? Not one person on YouTube that has this YouTube kind of a, you know, YouTube moral code. Yeah, not one of those people. I doubt anyone from YouTube would jump in to save even a baby drowning. They would film it from the bridge. Okay, that's what you got on. That's a bunch of trained SEALs on YouTube. And yeah, well, SeaWorld in America, it's booming. And what do you expect? What do you expect, kids, if for the last 10 years, 15 years, the people that have been nurturing the truth movement have been swindlers? So they're nurturing your movement. They're all swindlers. They're all working together. They've been swindling you. And you guys keep letting them back in to take the lead role, to take the driver's seat, and to come back. I mean, when Pete Santilli comes back, the great thing is that YouTube is so defunct and garbage, and that American people are so wish-washy, that he will come back, because he wants to come back. And when he does come back, well, guess what? I'm still going to be here, and it's going to just be so easy for me to clown the guy. And even though he won't go away and he'll take all my clowning, he's not even going to answer me, because he saw what happened last time he answered me. I turned him to rock candy on YouTube. So he's not even going to answer me. And I'm just going to straight clown him. And I'm going to show all the videos of where he was a complete liar. And I'm going to prove eventually that Malher was a fraud, because you just can't have that much FBI involvement and the FBI not be involved. And 2 years later, the FBI didn't find one of the things that I found. Not one. Well, because they don't want to find them. Because I'm the opposite of their story that makes any sense. And so I encourage all these people to come. I encourage Dave Acton to come back, man. I already have his boss's phone number. So eventually the owner of Cosgrove Consulting is going to become a popular YouTube personality, because I'm going to cover that guy. And then eventually Aisha Koto from Vice, well, she's going to become a YouTube personality, because I'm going to cover her, because they are on YouTube. They are manipulating YouTube behind the scenes, man. Eventually, I'm going to cover Scott Bibler. And I don't even have to cover Thomas. And I don't really want to, because he's connected at higher levels. Scott Bibler's some kind of Canadian dude. It's like a Canadian version of Thomas. So, and if you guys look up to these men, well, these men look up to me. And they say they don't, because that's part of their LARP. But real, you know, when you do things that are real, and you stand up in the face of all types of people working together, man, these wish-washy people respect you, man. They don't have a choice. So I don't even care. I don't even care what people say. Like, if a guy like Game Over says Ray, 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 and starts, you know, everything, and he's all up in my chat, and I don't care, man. That guy respects me, because I know he respects me, man, because I have my own ideas, man. And when he says something, I disregard what he says. I totally disregard what he says based on the fact that I believe in myself, man. I'm not on YouTube to gain understanding, I'm not on YouTube anymore to break down any of these false flag events. I'm not here for that any longer. I didn't come back to YouTube after being away for 8 months to cover the mainstream news stories. I came back, man, thinking of the people that sent me away. Thinking about how I got taken off, how they got me. And that's why I came back with 5 channels. That's why I have 5 crap channels. That's why I came back. I'm just fortunate I came back, and none of their strike shit is working, man. YouTube is not terminating channels based on mad strikes like they were in 2016 from Monograph and his crew. Man, those days are over, man. They already ruined this website. And YouTube noticed. If I noticed, YouTube noticed. And they ain't able to, if they ain't able to strike people's channels, they look, or my channel would have been struck down. So I use myself as a litmus test on these scumbags and on what exactly they can get over on YouTube. And getting over on YouTube is not the same in 2018 as it was on 2016. All I gotta do is make sure I don't break terms of service, and make sure when I'm clowning these guys that I ain't saying nothing that identifies them as a human being, as a human, private human person. And, you know, I'm not giving out details. I'm talking about the characters pushing LARP on YouTube. And I'm doing a good job. And I am helping people. And like I say in most of my streams, all the people watching this stream, it's very few of you are actually the people I'm aiming for. My audience is not even online yet. I'm aiming for people that are going to come over here like I did. First they were on Facebook, then they went to Twitter, then they had enough of Facebook, then they had enough of Twitter, then they came to YouTube. And then because I came here, that's what I'm going to do, is when those people are coming to YouTube from Facebook and Twitter, I'm going to get a message to them that just look, before you get completely caught up and join any one of these groups, just have a look at all the stuff that I'm pointing out and take it into small consideration before you actually get on board with the YouTube mind control, which is what it is. It's a full package. It's basically all your friends are filled, their heads are filled with malarkey and bullshit, and they convince you that what someone else said is true, and then you convince all your friends that that's true, and that nobody's thinking for themselves over here. And that's what happens when you're on YouTube for a year, 2 years. And so what I want to do is get the people that have channels with less than 50 subs, that make videos, a few videos, and nobody watches them. And I want to explain to them what's really going on and show them how to make it so that their videos get watched by people. And show them what people really want to see and know about on YouTube. Like if you're new to YouTube and you're going to compete with Next News Network and try and proliferate the news, you're going to lose, man. Nobody's going to see your shit. But if you make videos on the people at Next News Network and the characters that are, you know, trying to become news stations, but they're really YouTube channels, and they're a bunch of jokers, and Gary Frenchie's been online telling people he's going to cut you, I'm going to get you. Well, if you make fun of them showing those videos, well, you get lots of traction on YouTube. Because those are the people that the real YouTubers from 4 years ago want to see in the spotlight. They don't want to see Anderson Cooper. The people that have been on YouTube for 4 years, they want to see Pete Santilli fail, because they know he's a fraud. They want to see all these characters, the Cernovich and all these people, and the Defangos. They want to see, the evolution of those characters, the Britney Spears up and down of the roller coaster through YouTube. And when the multi-channel networks say to you, no, that's not what they want to see. Oh no, focus on the content. Don't focus on the people. Well, that's because when you focus on the people, well, that burns the people and not just the story. And they don't want to burn out. They want to keep pumping you stories, man. And the more bullshit the story is, the more money someone's going to pay them to pump it as real. And when you have the news pumping their stories and paying people over here to pump even more bullshit stories over on people, well, basically you just have an entire population of buffoons. And thank God for the handful of people on YouTube. Some of them are totally out to lunch and in another friggin' territory globally. But at least if they make one video that makes one person think, you know, I mean, it's better than what everyone else is doing, which is pushing the ball along. Like everybody on YouTube, it's a giant rugby team, man, of multi-channel networks. and they're all pushing that ball to one side of the field and then back to the other. It's the most boring game ever, and all the people touching the ball are making their money, and they're promoting this as an open website where kids can drop out of school and come work on YouTube. What a friggin' shame, man. What a shame. You know what I tell people? I tell them that they should not even bother with YouTube. Or if you come on YouTube and don't talk to anyone like me or anyone in the chats, and just watch videos, and you'll see that it's a different YouTube. If you're not signed in, there's a different YouTube for people that just watch content. They don't know of any of the characters. That's a different YouTube. That's not the YouTube I'm covering. I'm covering the original YouTube, the original truth movement that became conspiracy theories, then became truth movement, and now has become the TWOOF movement. And the people that are still here from all three of these movements, yeah, they're my main characters. And they all just know that I have piles and piles of stories about all of them. And, you know, my story is vague, might not be 100%, but definitely shows that they all have been around for all this time and are not going anywhere. I mean, that should be enough for some, like, people that don't make content, that are at the heart of YouTube for 4 or 5 years. If you guys don't see that, then you guys, the people that can't see that there's a problem, need to recruise themselves from being a leader in any type of discernment role, in any type of news role, and just make content, stay on YouTube. I'm not saying, you know, there's room on YouTube for the craziest people. But there's people that do that type of content and they pretend the police are outside their house and they're getting views and they acting crazy online, role playing that they're a gangster. You know, all this stuff is possible, is out there for you. But if you come on YouTube and try and acquire a following, a group, and you're misleading people as you're trying to acquire this group, like what Pete Santilli does. He tries to get a whole bunch of people together, triggered, then he goes down to the White House and he tries to get someone to do something fucking illegal, or he gets someone to call someone and to make some kind of a visible craziness. And Pete Santilli's waiting there with the FBI to go arrest that person and to have all the videos, just like Lift the Veil is too. When VOP broke into that house and pinched off a turd in a Pooey Louie, and his pinched turd got 1 million views in one weekend, where do you think the police went to get the video to arrest Pooey Louie for trespassing, criminal trespassing in that house? They went to Lift the Veil's YouTube channel. These people the FBI is working with these people, pushing LARPs, selling their LARPs to these people to push them. That's what Pete Santilli does. That's what a role Lift the Veil's trying to assume. And it's ironic that these people all believe that they can reinvent themselves. Because that's the thing that I'm pointing out to people in this life. I suffer the same dilemma. If I go and do things online and go and do things completely illegal and go and friggin' criminally harass people, nobody will respect me either. And so it's part of the process that, you know, if you want respect on YouTube, I mean, you gotta start out look, are you up early, Monograph? I already talked about you at the beginning of this video, you know, and I know, I hope you know that I'm doing live streams in the middle of the night so I could avoid your old self, man, and your old tactics, man. Like, here you are in my chat with YouTube Story 3 China to 2, saying I sound like an idiot. You know how stupid you look as a 61-year-old man? You know, you're turning 61 September 10th this year, man. You know how foolish you look, man? I'm like half your age, man. And then, you know, there's people on YouTube that are 14, man, and they don't want to deal with a sick grandfather. I mean, brother, man, just get your own life. You know, Monty, I'm gonna make a formal complaint to ICANN over you, man. I'm gonna do it, Monty. I'm just gathering more evidence, man. Keep coming around me, man. You got less than friggin' 4 months, okay? Keep trying to harass me, man. You better look for another job, man. You better look somewhere else. You better have something in your future than just YouTube, okay? Because what you did on YouTube is criminal. And I'm just going to show people that you're a criminal. I don't want your money, man. I don't want to sue you for any money. So, enjoy yourself criminally harassing me and stalking me, okay? And I'll just make my live streams and talk about the people that don't want me to talk about them, and point out that they're all working together. And when you wake up in the morning like you did today, and you see that I just did a 3-hour live stream and you missed it, well, you can go back and watch it all and give me more views.